Hello. Welcome back to my channel. I am Monet and you're watching Life is Monet. Last month, I did not use my TBR prompt jar because I wanted to complete several series that I was so close to finishing. And I have to say that I did very well last month with finishing several series. Like I actually just finished Morningstar. So I am officially done with Red Rising. I did officially finish the Davabat trilogy and I'm currently wrapping up Red Sisters. So yeah, I did pretty well. I lost my voice towards the end of April and it's been gone for like 2 weeks now. So if I sound very different from all my other videos, that is why. But I'm just tired of waiting for my voice to return. I need to film my TBR and so we're doing it today. For the month of May, we're going to pull 8 prompts from the prompt jar. I have like no initial feelings so far. I'm just kind of hoping that I get a variety of reads, some exciting reads, some new releases, but backlist books would be okay too. Going in for the first pull, I got a mood read. I'm not gonna pick a mood read just yet because I don't know what mood I'm gonna be in the month of May. I do have a trip planned to the beach sometime soon, so maybe I'll do like a cute rom-com romance type story, but who knows? I could also just do a random thriller because why not? Going in for the second pull, I need to read a book that is released this month. What is coming out in May? I know Yellowface by R.F. Kuang is coming out this month and I've already pre-ordered that, so yeah, I will be reading Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. So I'm like loosely aware of the synopsis of the story. I know that we have 2 best friends that wanted to be writers. One career really took off and was very successful. From my understanding, she's Asian or Asian American, and her white counterpart friend has been struggling with writing her books or getting them to really sell. And then after the passing of the Asian American, the white friend actually steals her story and publishes it as her own, and she's actually like masquerading as an entirely different ethnicity. This is gonna be different because R.F. Kuang has written 2 fantasy book series so far, and I think this one is contemporary, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how R.F. Kuang's writing performs in a different genre. Going in for our third pull, I need to read a book written for children. Oh, I have the perfect one. For that prompt, I'm going to be reading a middle grade called The Book Wanderers. I've had this on my TBR for a while, and I've just been looking for a reason to pick it up. I'm actually very excited to finally have a reason to check this book out. We're following a little girl, I believe she's 11, and her name is Tilly. Tilly's mother disappeared years ago, and she's been left in the care of her grandparents who own a bookshop. And she spends most of her times immersed in some of her favorite stories, such as Alice in Wonderland and Anne of Green Gables, until she discovers that some of her favorite characters are coming to life, and she has the ability to jump into any book that she wants to. And so that unrolls a whole different world of fun for her, as well as some danger as well. After some secrets are uncovered around the disappearance of her mother, Tilly's going to use her ability to jump into stories to figure out what happened to her mother and what made her disappear all those years ago. So that's our third book. We're going in for our fourth pull, The Secret Keeper of Jaipur. So this is the sequel to The Henna Artist, which is a book that I read last year, and I have very mixed feelings about it. Essentially, there is nothing wrong with the story. I actually really enjoyed the story and the writing. It was just something about the main character and her decision making that just really bothered me. I felt like she was a character that was just really hard to like, and that she got herself into very difficult decisions, and she kind of played naive a lot, and so it just felt like it prolonged and just kind of like drew out the conflicts throughout the story. And it also made it hard for me to like empathize with her because I felt like she was putting herself into certain situations. I didn't know if I enjoyed book 1 enough to go into book 2. I couldn't really pinpoint if it was just the author's intention to make the character that way, or if I could find myself being attached to another character. In this book, we're following a different character, which was kind of like a tertiary character in the first book that I really loved, but we didn't really get his POV. And so I was very nervous going into this one because I didn't want the one character that I enjoyed from the first book to just, I don't know, for me to like get into their head and end up not liking it. So for this one, I feel like it's a bit of a risky read because it's a character that I already like. I'm just hoping that like the way the story is told and the writing doesn't make me not like them. So just here's to hoping that the characters are going to be very different. If you haven't heard or read The Henna Artist, we're following Lakshmi, if I remember her name correctly, and she is a henna artist for very rich and upper class individuals, and she finds herself stuck between the world that she's coming from and trying to claw her way out of, and the prosperous future that she wants for herself. She has a little sister that she finds that she has this responsibility for, and her little sister get caught up in several different situations as Lakshmi is trying to push them past some of their generational boundaries. So in this book, we're following a little boy from the first book, and I think that he's moved away and that he doesn't actually live near Lakshmi anymore, but I could be very wrong. I don't know. I'm just really hoping that I have a better experience and a better connection to the character in this story. Okay, going in for our fifth pull. I need to finish a series. Wow. I literally spent all last month focusing on finishing series. And now I pulled the prop to finish a series. What can I finish? I've already pulled them all. So each month this year, I have been reading a book in the Age of Myth series. My plan was to read one a month until June because there's 6 books in the series that would be done by June. This is the month of May, so I figured why not just go ahead and spend this month wrapping up the series. I'm actually technically behind because I did not get a chance to read April's pick because I was so busy finishing up other series. So this month is going to be a month of me reading 2, 3 Michael J. Sullivan books because I'm missing April. Yeah, so I'll be reading 3 of the books in this series, which I think is called Age of Death, Age of Legend, and Age of Empire. I need to read. Okay, so my TBR just got significantly longer by adding on those 3 books, but hey, here we are. I am going in for my 6th pull, and that is to read a book outside of your usual genre. Okay. I feel like my usual genre is definitely fantasy, but I feel like I read very random and wide books. What would be a book outside of my usual genre? So for that prompt, I'm actually going to pick a graphic novel because I feel like I don't read them as much as any other genre. I'm gonna read the first volume in this compendium for Saga. I've had this on my shelf for about 6 months now, but I also bought Paper Girls and I read that one first and it was by the same author. So I just finished Paper Girls, I think in December or in January, I read the last volume. So why not? We're going into Saga. I don't know much about this book except the fact that we have 2 men that are, I think they're taking care of a baby, an alien baby. I don't know, but I actually really liked Paper Girls. There were some volumes that I enjoyed more than others, but I also feel like the storyline in Paper Girls was very scattered and sporadic, and so I'm hoping for a little bit more consistency and just a streamlining of the progression of the plots in Saga. And I hope that, you know, Paper Girls was an anomaly and that that's not the way that they typically write their graphic novels. Okay, going in for pull number 7. This feels like such a large TBR, but doable at the same time. I need to read The Corset. The synopsis of this book is pretty hard for me to explain coherently, but I'm gonna try. We have 2 female characters that we're following in the story, one of which is Ruth. She is a teenage seamstress that is on trial for murder, and she acclaims that her ability to just sew with a needle and thread is actually a supernatural ability, and somehow that explains this murder. And then we have Dorothea, who is this kind of scientist who believes in phrenology, which is the idea that a person's skull or the shape of their skull tells you a lot about their darkest crimes. And so she's convinced that looking at a skull will let you know if a person is guilty or capable of committing a heinous crime. But somehow she can't figure out if Ruth is actually guilty, if she's a victim or a villain, if she's mad and insane or really a murderer. And so yeah, this is just a story of Ruth explaining her story and her background to this murder that she may or may not have committed to Dorothea. And Dorothea is trying to figure out if, I guess, the shape of her skull, I don't know, it's a historical mystery fiction fantasy. Just go with it. I can't really explain what I read in terms of the synopsis, but yeah, I've had it on my shelf. I really thought the cover was pretty. The author, I read another book by the author that I really liked. And then this one I think was like released in the UK first, so I ended up ordering this off Book Depository, and then I just kind of put it on display and forgot about it. So yeah, another reason to pick it up. I feel like I am getting exactly what I wanted from this TBR, which is just a bunch of like random, weird, but also slightly interesting books to read. So I'm not mad. Final pull. Let's go towards the bottom this time. Several in my hand. I need to read a middle grade. Perfect. Okay, so for that one, I'm gonna pick up Nevermore. I have no idea what Nevermore is about. It's a pretty popular middle grade series, and I don't always gravitate towards middle grade, but I was watching a video from Stephanie's Bookverse, and she did recommendations based off your zodiac sign. So she did a video for books for Cancers to read, and I'm a Cancer. And one book that she recommended was actually the sequel to this one, which is called Wondersmith, and I wanted to read it. I actually had this idea of doing a vlog of me reading her recommendations for Cancers, but because it was a sequel, when I went to Half Price Books, I bought both because they were like $4.50, and I'm like, I can't read the sequel without having read the first book, so I ended up just grabbing it because it was so affordable and it was right there. But I never read the synopsis. I literally was just doing it for a vlog that never saw the light of day. I even filmed an intro clip for it, and then I just kind of scrapped it. Like, I do that a lot where I have cool ideas for vlogs and then somehow I just kind of like lose momentum or steam or something like that, and then I just never go back to the vlogs. But here we are. I'll be reading Nevermore, which is a reason for me to continue on to Wondersmith, just for my own personal like insight to know if that zodiac recommendations was actually pretty good. I feel like this TBR is like so random, but I'm satisfied. This is what I like when I use my prompt jar. Our first pick was a mood read, which I actually have not selected yet. And then we have Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang, which is going to be our second book. And then we needed to finish a series, so we'll be reading 3 Michael J. Sullivan books, which puts us at 6 for the month. I pulled The Secret Keeper of Jaipur, which puts us at 7. And then I needed to read a book a book written for children, I think was the prompt, and I pulled the Book Wanderers. Then I actually pulled the Corset, and then I pulled a middle grade book, and I also pulled a prompt to read something outside of my usual genre, and I'll be reading volume 1 of Saga. And yeah, this is what I call a wide variety of reading taste, so cheers to that. I feel like in the beginning, I'm definitely going to focus the month on finishing the Michael J. Sullivan series because I need to get that out of the way. The other 2 are going to go by so fast, especially the middle grade and the graphic novel. And then I think Yellowface doesn't come out until like May 25th, so I'll be reading that the last week of the month. So yeah, this feels so incredibly doable. Thank you guys for making it to the end of my video. If you've made it this far, leave me a baby emoji for Saga, and I will see you guys in my next one.